Who is supposed to approve this? Or even this? Did anyone approve this? And then comes the most dangerous sentence in businesses. I'll just follow up with them. One follow-up becomes two. Two becomes five, and suddenly your employees are spending their time chasing decision instead of doing their actual job. But here is the thing. Your business already knows what needs approval, who should approve it, when it was submitted, how long it has been waiting, what should happen after approval, and what should happen if nobody responds. So why should your employee have to remember all of that? This week we are going to teach your business who should decide, when they should decide, what happens after they decide, and most importantly, what happens when they don't decide. This is where we move from automation to approval, rules, and escalation. First, understand approvals. Before we build anything inside Zoho, let's understand the business problem. An approval process has four basic questions. What needs approval? For example, a discount, an expense, a purchase order, a quotation, a leave request, a project change, a refund, a customer credit, or a hiring request. Two, who should approve it? Maybe reporting manager, sales manager, finance manager, HR manager, CEO, whatever your hierarchy is. Three, under what condition? Not everything needs the same level of approval. For example, an expense below $500, manager approval. An expense above $500, manager plus finance. An expense above $5,000, management approval. The condition determines the approval path. 4. What happens next? If approved, what happens? If rejected, what happens? If nobody responds, what happens? That's where escalation comes in. So remember, what, who, condition, next step. That's the foundation of an approval process. Let's look beyond Zoho for a moment. Most companies don't have an approval problem because approval don't exist. They have an approval problem because approvals are not structured. Someone sends an email, someone sends a WhatsApp message, someone asks in Teams, someone calls their manager, someone says approve. But where is that approval recorded? Who approved it? When? Based on what information? And what happens if that person is on leave? That is not a software problem, it's a process problem. And business transformation starts by fixing the process than using technology to enforce it. Now let's take marketing. Marketing wants to run a campaign. The team needs 3 lakh for advertising. Without a process, someone might simply say, let's go ahead. But what if the budget wasn't planned? What if the campaign is targeted the wrong audience? What if the offer isn't approved? What if the brand team hasn't reviewed the content? What if the campaign is much larger than normal? There is where approval becomes useful. Not every social media post needs the CEO's approval. But a major campaign with a significant budget probably deserves a review. So marketing defines what can the team launch themselves, what needs the marketing head, what needs management. Now marketing can move quickly on normal work while important spending gets the right level of review. Now let's return to sales. Discounts are one example, but sales also deal with special pricing, payment terms, free services, customer contact, large deals, no standard commitments. Imagine a salesperson promise a customer, we will give you 90 days payment terms. The customer is happy, the deal closes, then finance is the agreement. Finance say, we don't normally give 90 days. Now sales say, but the customer was promised. Now who approved it? And the conversation starts. This is exactly why approval is needed. Before the salesperson makes an unusual commitment, the business should have a way to review it. Now let's talk about money. This is probably the easiest place to understand why approval are made. Imagine someone wants to pay a vendor 10 lakh. Should one person be able to create and approve that payment themselves? Maybe not. The business may want another person to review it. Why? Because money leaving the company is a business risk. The same applies to large expenses, refunds, credit notes, vendor payment, customer credit, employee reimbursements. Approval creates a second level of visibility, not because finance doesn't trust employees, because business needs financial control. The 4 I's principle. Here is a simple business idea. Sometimes 2 people should look at something important. One person prepares it, another person reviews it. For example, finance executive prepares a large payment. Finance manager approves it. Now one person isn't responsible for the entire decision. This reduces mistake, it can reduce fraud risk, it creates accountability, and it gives management confidence that important financial decisions are being reviewed. This is one of the biggest reasons approval process matter. Now let's look at HR. Suppose a manager wants to hire someone. The candidate is excellent. The manager says, let's hire them. But then HR checks the salary. It's above the approved range. Finance checks the budget. There isn't enough budget. Management says, why are we hiring at this salary? The problem happened because the hiring decision was separated from the business, budget and authority. A proper approval process connects those things. The manager can request the hire, HR checks the position, finance checks the budget. Management gets involved only when the request falls outside the rule. Now hiring becomes a business decision, not just a manager decision. Now let's talk about projects. Here is one of the biggest reasons project business need approval. Scope changes, customer says, can you add this one small thing? The team say yes. Then another small thing, then another. Eventually the project has become much larger than what was originally sold. The customer is happy. The team is exhausted, the deadline has moved, and the company is making less money. Why? Because nobody stopped to ask, does this change need approval? A proper project process can say, small change, project manager can approve, more effort, require additional review, additional cost, customer approval, major scope change, management or commercial approval. Now the project team isn't afraid of saying yes. They simply know this request needs to go through the change process. That's important because the approval doesn't mean don't do anything. It means before we change the commitment, let's make sure everyone agrees. Now let's look at support. Imagine a customer has a serious issue. The support executive wants to give a refund. They have limit. Maybe they can approve 1,000 themselves. Above that, they need a manager. That's actually good. Why? Because the support employee can solve small problems immediately. They don't have to wait. But large compensation decisions still receive appropriate review. So approval creates freedom within boundaries. That is a powerful concept. You don't want your support team asking management for every 500 decision. You also don't want employees making unlimited financial commitments. Approval defines the middle ground. Now let's talk about the people at the top. The purpose of approval isn't to send everything to management. Actually, it's the opposite. If management is approving everything, your business has a bottleneck. Management should mostly see exception. A normal expense manager, a normal discount sales manager, a normal purchase department head. But if huge amount, major project change, significant financial risk, that will be management. This means management spends time on decision that actually requires their attention. That's how approval can make a business faster, not slower. Now we come to the second part, because even the best approval process has a problem. People get busy, someone is traveling, someone is sick, someone is in meeting, someone misses the notification. So what happens? Without an escalation process, the request sits there. Nobody knows. Work stops, the customer waits, the employee follow up, someone sends a WhatsApp, then another message. That's exactly what we are trying to eliminate. Escalation simply means this decision has been waiting too long, so let's bring it to someone's attention. For example, a discount approval is waiting. After 1 day, remind the approver. Still waiting, notify the next person. A critical project decision is waiting, escalate sooner. A normal request, give it more time. The important thing is escalation should be based on business impact. Not every pending request needs to reach the head CEO. This is the most important part. Don't implement approval rules just because Zoho has the feature. Implement them because they solve business problem. A good approval process can give you clear responsibility. Everyone knows who decides. 2. Better control. Important decisions don't happen without the appropriate review. 3. Fewer mistakes. The process catches decision that falls outside normal limits. 4. Less follow-up. Employees don't have to consistently chase managers. 5th, faster decision. Request automatically reach the right person. 6. Better visibility. Management can see what is pending. 7th, accountability. You know who approved or rejected something. 8. Consistency. Similar situations follow similar rules. That's the real value, not the approval, but the business control behind it. So here is an important warning. Don't take a messy approval process and simply put it inside Zoho. First ask, why does this need approval? What risk are we trying to control? Who really needs to decide? Who can the employees decide themselves? What happens after approval? What happens after rejection? How long can the request wait? Once you answer those questions, then build it. Technology comes after process. This week, sit with your team. Don't ask what Zoho approval should we create. Ask which decision are causing problem in our business. Maybe it's a discount, a purchase, an expense, a payment, a higher request, a project change, a refund, a campaign. Find one, then ask what should go wrong if nobody receives this. Who should review it? What can the employee decide without approval? What can happen after approval? What happens if the approval is delayed? Now you have found your first approval process. Once you build it, test it. Don't just test the happy path. Test approved, reject, pending, wrong amount, different department, different employee, different approval, delayed approval. Make sure the process behaves the way your business actually needs, because the goal isn't to create an approval rule. The goal is to create a process you can trust. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Why do business need approval? Not because people can't be trusted, not because management wants to control everything. Approval exists because some decisions have consequences. Some affect money, some affect customers, some affect projects, some affects employees, some affects risk. And as the business grows, you need a consistent way to handle those decisions. A good approval process tells your team, this is what you can decide, this is what needs review, this is who reviews it, this is what happens next. And if nobody responds, the system knows when to escalate. That's the difference between a business that depends on memory and a business runs on a process. And maybe now you're thinking, I understand why I need approvals, but the next question is, how do I actually build this inside Zoho? That's where ZDIY, Zoho Do Implementation Yourself, comes in. With ZDIY, you work alongside a personal Zoho tutor. You open your own Zoho account. Your tutors guides you through the rule. You build it, you test it, and most importantly, you understand how it works. So the next time your process changes, you can change yourself. And to help you get started, you also receive 5 hours of free Zoho support. Visit ZEducator, start with one decision, fix the process, then build from there. We'll meet you on the next week.